Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Coach Allison, and we're in week 14 for Defy Aging. This week we have 7 exercises in our circuit, and we're going to run through the circuit for 4 rounds. Rounds 1 and 2 will be timed one way, and rounds 3 and 4 will be timed a different way. And rounds 1 and 2 are 40 seconds on, 30 seconds off, and rounds 3 and 4 are the reverse, so 30 seconds on, 40 seconds off. So you get a little extra rest time for those final 2 rounds. We do have a lot of single-sided exercises this week, so having that even number of rounds allows us a good chance to do those single-sided exercises because you'll do one side for each round. So you don't have to worry about switching sides halfway through. Anyways, let's run through our 7 exercises. Station 1 is pretty straightforward. Not easy, mind you, but pretty straightforward as far as concept. We're going to start with a single leg balance. Granted, you might not be starting with this because you might not be starting at station 1, but single leg balance, your coach will put this near a wall or a rack so you do have something to maybe put your hand on if you do need a little assistance here. But when we're working on single leg balance, we want to try to bring the leg that's up, try to bring it up like this. So we're working on bringing this leg up to a 90 degrees versus bringing it back like this. Okay, so we are going to work on bringing that knee up. And you also want to work on not relying on pressing that leg into the balancing leg. So we're not relying on this pressure here. So those 2 things, I want you to work on that. If you're not there yet, that's okay. And again, feel free to place a hand gently on something for some balance assistance. If you are near a rack, try not to grab hold of the rack with your whole hand because then you're kind of almost 100% relying on that assistance. Instead, try to put a finger or 2 on that thing for assistance. But anyway, round 1 is going to be one leg, round 2 other leg, round 3 back to that first leg, round 4 the second leg. So that's how we're going to do that single-sided single leg balance. Next station is a half kneel curl press. I'm already in the half kneel position. We do it quite often. So many of you are familiar. We have the 90-degree bend in both knees. Okay, so we're not extending that front leg too far or not far enough. Weight is in the side with the knee that's down. Okay, gonna come and do a bicep curl and then a shoulder press and then release it back down the same way. I'm gonna turn to the front so you can see how I'm holding this weight. Palm is turned in at the bottom, which is more comfortable. So if you turn it out, see how I have to kind of angle my arm out, sort of awkward. So turn it in at the bottom, come up with the curl, then rotate the palm forward as I press it up. Now my fingernails are facing forward. Gonna rotate it like so, bring it down. So just watch my hand position as I do a few reps here. And as I'm doing this, I'm not jerking and swaying and tilting. My body's not doing anything weird like that. I'm using my stability here to stay nice and firm and still and controlled. All right, if we're staying off the floor, off the knee, instead of doing, as you can see, this is my position on the floor. If I stand, I'm going to stay staggered. Instead of doing a full kneeling position, that's an option if we're staying off the floor. But that can feel a little unsteady. So if that's too wobbly for you, turn it to a standard stance. So there are 3 options here. And this will be a single-sided curl press with a more traditional standing position. So 3 options there. And again, with the single-sided, round 1 is one side, round 2 is the other side, and so on. Next, we have a contralateral step up, another single-sided thing. Are they all single-sided? I don't remember now. So you have your weight, you can use a dumbbell or a kettlebell. I typically actually prefer a kettlebell, but I already have the dumbbell. So your weight is in one hand. You're going to put the opposite foot up on your box. You can pick the height that's appropriate for you. Now, there's all sorts of variations of step ups. What we're going to do this week is not remove this foot at all until the set is completely done. So this is my starting position. I'm going to come up and down. And as you can see, I'm not removing this foot at all. So we're not doing this. Like, again, that's a variety. There's nothing wrong with that. Variety is good, right? So the variety that we're doing this week, again, the side that you're Starting with that side does not come down at all until the set's done. Okay, there we go. Of course, weight is always optional. It's always good to add resistance, to add load to help to build up muscle and strength. But if you're not there yet and you're working on body weight only, totally fine. Grab weight when you're ready. Okay, next up we have it's such a long name, I needed my list to remind me. Side lying isometric mini band leg raise. So, anyways, you're laying on your side, got the mini band around. You can put it around your ankles or a little farther up around like your calf, wherever. But you want to make sure you're right on your side so you're not rolled back kind of on your, rolled too far back on your hip. And we're going to raise that top leg, but we're just going to hold it. So I want you to be honest with yourself and raise high enough so that you feel the tension in your hip here, in your glute. So like if I let it down here, I'm hardly holding any tension on that band, so it's kind of easy. But anyways, so I'm holding a lot of tension now, and we're just going to hold it for the full set. Okay. Woo! It's going to burn. So for any of our participants not doing floor exercises, right? Coaches, I'm going to have put this station near a bench or chair. So it's somewhere where you can sit to put this band on. And then you can hold on, to a wall or something if you need to for balance. But pretty much the same thing. But you will want to hold something for balance because it's going to be holding that isometric like this. So you'll want to hold something for balance because we already have the single leg balance in this workout anyways, but I don't want the balance to even be a consideration for this exercise. I thought my video stopped. No, I want the hip work to be the consideration here. So we'll use the wall for balance and hold that. What we don't want to do here if you're doing the standing option is lean. So I don't want any of this. So staying up tall. Yeah, you can get the leg higher if you lean, but that doesn't matter. That's not the kind of contraction that we want if you're leaning. So anyway, those are our two options for this. I can't remember. I'm not going to try to recite that name again. That's the two options for this station. Our next station is a 3-point row. We do this one quite often, but I think it's been a while. So this is a little bit low. I would recommend something maybe a little higher, but it was just the thing that was here. So we're supported on something. So sometimes we do a 2-point row, which would be supporting yourself on your knee here. But for 3-point row, we have a box or a bench. And the side with the weight, that is the side of, that is the leg that's back. And we pull the weight up. Maybe get a little bit of a twist, not much. So we're not doing an excessive twist like that. But you want to get a little bit of a rotation so that you are really feeling that you're using these muscles here. So engaging those. Just a little bit of a twist like that. And I want you to try to remember that this is a back exercise. It's not an arm exercise. Yes, you're using your arm, but your arm is really just the tool. Your arm is just the lever to be able to engage these muscles here. Okay, so try to keep that in mind. So you can have a pretty loose grip on the weight here. You don't have to grip it too tightly. But the important thing is to have a flat back. So if you have this leg too close, sometimes that can make it so your back is too rounded or too hunched. But if you take that leg and step it back really far, it makes it a little easier to flatten out that back. A little trick and tip for you. Anyways, another single-sided exercise. So we can do all of round 1 on one side and all of round 2 on the other side and continue like that. So again, no switching in the middle of the set. So for this one, it's a stability ball, medicine ball, chest press. So we're using 2 of our different tools here, 2 different balls, and it's a little tricksy to get in and out of. You can hold the medicine ball like this as you sit down on the stability ball, or you can roll the stability ball up to the medicine ball and then grab it like this. So whatever seems easier for you to start, because it's a little tricksy getting in and out of this. And then once you have the ball, medicine ball in your lap, you're gonna crawl forward or down and forward like that. You want your upper back and your head on the stability ball. So you want to make sure we're not like this and the head isn't left hanging. We want the head supported or your neck's going to get really tired. So the head should be supported comfortably. I'm using my hamstring and glute muscles to lift my hips a little so we're not sunken down like this. So you're getting a little bit of leg work here too, lower body work and glute work, just by keeping those hips up. Take that medicine ball and we're pressing this up and down. Okay? Now, if your hips might start to sink down, so keep that in mind. I'll try to have your coaches remind you to pop those hips up, keep those glutes squeezed so that you are keeping these hips elevated. When you're done, you can just toss that ball down if you want to. Roll slowly back up to a seated position. That's how you get in and out of that. There's a lot going on there. It's a good one. So we're getting the shoulders and chest work with that press. We're getting the core work with just the stability alone. We're getting the lower body work by keeping those hips up. That's a good one. A lot of ways we could modify that one though. So we can leave the stability ball out of it and do the medicine ball press on the floor. We can get a incline bench so you're leaving the stability ball out of it and doing that on an incline bench for those of us who aren't doing anything on the floor. What I want to avoid though is changing the medicine ball to dumbbells. So even our heaviest medicine ball, I don't think any of the clubs have heavier than 20-pound medicine balls. So doing that chest press with the medicine ball. So if you have a 20-pound medicine ball, that's the equivalent of having a 10-pound weight in each hand, right? So you might be thinking like, oh, I can do chest presses with like 15s or 15 in each hand, and that's a total of 30 pounds, or 20 in each hand, that's a total of 40 pounds, right? But it's different doing a medicine ball because you don't have a handle to hold on to, so you don't have anything to stabilize, first of all. And when you're holding the medicine ball, again, no handles, and you're relying on inward pressure to hold the ball. So you're relying on just squeezing the ball in, like this, like this, to hold on to the ball. Again, no handles. So it drastically changes what that weight feels like. Okay, and so it makes it's gonna feel harder with a lighter weight because you're pressing inward as opposed to just having handles to rely on just the balance of those handles. So let's just stay trusting on this one. Okay. So please use a medicine ball, even if you think or know you can maybe go a little heavier than our heaviest medicine balls. Okay. Have fun with this one. Let's give it a try. All right, team, and our final station is burpees. I know it's everyone's favorite. Okay, full burpee, and I'll show you lots of different options. We're going to start on an incline, actually. So let's start on an incline. Got a bench, hands down, jump back, jump in, jump up. Okay, that's with full jumps. You can jump back, step in, and reach up. You can step back, jump in, reach up. I mean, you can do any combination of taking those jumps and turning them into steps. Or you can do all three jumps. I'll show you again all three jumps. Hands down, jump back, jump in, jump up. Okay? Or so you can do any height of box or bench that your gym has. The lower you go towards the floor, the harder it gets. Speaking of the floor, let's go to a full burpee on the floor. All right, hands down, jump back, jump in, jump up, and again with some stepping variations. Step back, step in, reach up. So that took out all three jumps, but we still got all of those movements. And let's say we want to mix and match. So maybe typically the jump back, I've noticed, tends to be the hardest jump for most people. So we're not going to jump back, we're going to step back, but we're going to do a big to get the jump in and the jump up. That's an option. Maybe the jump back's okay for us, but that jump in just ain't working. See how we can just mix and match with it, steps, jumps. But there is one thing, like safety, that I do want to keep in mind with burpees. We don't want the in jump, whether you're on an incline or not, we want that jump on the way back in to have flat feet. So I want you to watch my feet here. I'm going to step back, but on the way in, I want you to watch my feet and watch how they land. See how they landed flat-footed, as opposed to this. Now they landed kind of on the toes with my heels up. It's kind of had a bouncy effect on my Achilles tendon and my ankle. That's what we want to avoid. So I really want people to practice landing this jump right here in almost like a squat. So think of a squat, normal squat, right? See my leg position? Now watch my jump. It's a squat. It's really important for ankle, knee, leg, ankle integrity and safety with burpees. So if you're on an incline, same thing. Watch my jump back in and landed just nice and flat-footed versus kind of like having that little bounce on my ankles and my knees. So something to keep in mind if you're new to burpees, if you're old to burpees, maybe you haven't been knowing that about them. Something to keep in mind. But anyways, all sorts of options to mix and match with the steps and the jumps, and that is our burpee station. Okay, and then our team builder is going to be something fun with a plank and one of these different kind of medicine balls, these more solid ones. So we need it to roll really well. If you don't have, I think all the gyms have these, but if you don't, find something that rolls. Anyways, so you're going to be in a circle. It's hard to demonstrate this without a group, but in a circle, and everyone is doing their plank, high plank with their heads, like you would be across from me in the circle. So everyone's head is on the inside of the circle. High plank, that means you're on your hands versus your elbows. One look out for this. We do not want this. So no high butts, hips are low. And you can do a knee plank as well. Totally fine to put your knees down. If you're doing a knee plank, make sure that your hips are level, relatively straight line from your head down to your knees. So we're not in a tabletop like this, because this isn't engaging our ab muscles. This is just being on your hands and knees. But what you do to fix this is sink your hips down. Now we have, again, that relatively straight line from the back of the head to the knees. And again, this would be toe plank, knee plank. Whichever option you do, put your knees or your toes kind of wide, not right next to each other, because we're going to be lifting one hand off the floor. And if your knees or your feet are wide, when you lift a hand off the floor, you can stay a little bit more level. Your feet are close together. You have to tilt more in order not to fall. We want to avoid tilting and twisting. What we're going to do is play a little game of rolly ball amongst the team of people in your circle. Kind of like hot potato, but we're not throwing the ball. We're rolling it. So roll it to whomever you want. Could be the person next to you, could be the person across from you, kitty corner, whatever. You're in your high plank though. Okay? You can use whatever hand you want when it comes to you, but be on the lookout because it's going to be rolling around. So I'm going to roll it. I'm going to roll it to the person over there, put my hand back down, wait for it to come back to me, then roll it to the person over there. I can't, I'm all by myself, so now I rolled it away. But you get the gist. If at any point you're on your toes and it's getting too challenging on that core, put the knees down, turn it into a knee plank. We're going to go for 30 seconds of this, and if depending on the time you have remaining in your session, maybe go for 2 rounds after a quick little break. So that is our team builder, hot potato, high plank. I haven't named this yet because I kind of just thought of it, but that's what we're doing for the team builder. All right, and that is week 14. I hope you have fun with some of these are new exercises. Hope you have fun. See you back next week.